What up, Whiskey Ginger fans? Happy New Year. Welcome back to the show. Glad to have you back with me. Hey, man, if you're new to the show, like it, subscribe it, leave a comment down below for the Al Go Rhythm. I appreciate it. We post every single Friday. I haven't missed in over 3 years, and I really do appreciate you guys. I hope taking me into the new year, I'm going to bring you a lot of new guests, a lot of fun people you never heard of before, some people you have heard of before, some repeat guests. Maybe a couple residencies this year. We're going to mix it up and have a good time here on the Whiskey Ginger podcast. This week, my guest is Mr. Jim Jefferies, the Aussie god, the man from down under. I love this dude. He's so funny, so smart, and such a cool dude. He's off the sauce, so we didn't get to taste any today, but he's cleaning up his life, which is good for Jim. Of course, I'm going to keep having some because Papa like it the sauce. I'm on tour. I'm still on tour, baby. We're making it happen. It's the new year. We're running around. I think I got 10, 12 cities left. Kansas City, St. Louis, Chicago. Come on, baby. Come on out, man. Chicago, Albany, Foxwoods, Atlanta, D.C., Vancouver, Seattle, Portland, Vegas. We're all over the place. Go to AndrewSantino.com for the tickets. AndrewSantino.com for those tickets. Come see me. It's the new year. Spend that holiday money the right way on the old Ginger live at AndrewSantino.com. Enough rambling from the moron. Let's go to the episode.
In here, we pour whisk, 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 whisk.
You were that creature in the ginger beard.
Sturdy and ginger.
Like vampires, the ginger gene is a curse.
Gingers are beautiful.
You owe me $5 for the whiskey and $75 for the horse.
Gingers? Oh, hell no.
This whiskey is excellent.
Ginger. I like gingers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Whiskey Ginger. My guest today is one of my favorite people on earth. I say that for all my guests, but I mean it once again today. It is Mr. Jim Jefferies.
Hello.
Jim, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
You were just telling me before we officially started how much you despise and loathe America and think it's and you said death to America. You chanted it over and over off air.
Yes.
Death to America.
Yep,
yeah.
That's me all over. No, I like America. I'm an American citizen, man. I fought to stay in this country. So, but it's funny when you have this accent, if you do any, the gun control routine or something like that, you criticize anything, you seem to be unpatriotic or why are you here or something like that.
Yeah.
But, every country's got their pluses and their minuses and stuff. I'm very proud Australian, very proud American.
I want to go to Australia. I've never been. I have fans that are down that have said, come down. I had one offer to go. And the date didn't match. I was like, can I have another date? And they're like, we got to send you one in a couple months.
You can just go. I was talking to Jay Leno once, and he was like, yeah, I'd like to go to Australia. He goes, I just don't know if I'd sell that many tickets. And I was like, you can just,
Jay Leno?
Yeah, you can just go, man.
Yeah, you just go.
Yeah, I think
you'll be fine.
Just take your wife and go on a holiday, mate. You'll be fine.
That's what I do want to do. I do want to just go on vacation. But then a piece of me is like, shouldn't I go down there and work? I've never worked down there.
Well, I don't know what your following is, or we have this podcast reaching Australia.
16 or 17 people are listening to me consistently.
Right.
Week to week.
Right. Well, that'd come.
Yeah.
So, but there's theaters and stuff you can play, or there's comedy clubs you can play.
I would want to do a small little theater out there.
Yeah, you could definitely do that.
Didn't what's his name move down there because he was so successful?
Arj Barker.
Arj, yeah, right.
Arj Barker.
He's Canadian, isn't he?
I think he's from San Francisco.
I
believe.
Oh wow! Okay.
I'm not sure of this.
But he moved down there because he did so well.
He was doing very well. He still does very well in Australia. Yeah. He moved down there. Yeah.
It's so wild.
There's a few British people who moved there as well, and you become big fish in a small pond type of a thing. It's not a bad career move.
No, it's not bad at all. We're not having any whiskey today because Jim's off the sauce.
I don't drink anymore.
You told me that when we were in Cancun together.
Yeah.
What a trip we had, huh?
Oh, that was wonderful. We did a podcast where we couldn't hear each other.
Couldn't hear anything.
That's always sweet.
Very fun.
I imagine that's how people lip reading give it a go. You just give an answer.
Yeah,
you think may happen.
Right.
You said something to me like, so how's the career going? I go, yeah, the baby's well. You know what I mean?
It lines up anyway.
Yeah, I was just like,
I don't have any dogs.
Yeah.
I don't have a dog. It's like, no. We had to keep moving the best we could. Would you go back if they asked you to do it again?
Cancun?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
The festival's all right.
The festival's fine. I'm a big fan of Just for Laughs. And I didn't know this. I took my son and my ex actually to Cancun.
That's right, you said that.
And my wife was home with the new baby, so I took my son and my ex over to Cancun, and it was a nice little family trip for my boy because we've been locked up indoors for a couple of years. But when I got there, I found out there was a adult side of the resort and the family side, so I was miles away from everybody else.
Oh, you were in the family side?
I was in the family side.
Good
Sorry,
for
I just
you.
burped.
No, I liked it.
And then there was like a shooting next door in the resort next door.
Yeah.
There was a shooting, and everyone's like, "Oh, there's a shooting." And I got the text message sent to me, and I was dining with my 8-year-old. I was just like, "Oh, hey." And I looked at it and I went, "Oh my god, there's an active shooter type of thing." But it's a cartel thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
They're not
all
after
right.
us.
They're not after me. I'm not cartel-y.
That is how I feel about those kind of things when tragedies happen. You're like, oh, that's not after me. That's fine.
Well, I had many years ago when I was doing the gun thing. I had an active sort of threat that there was going to be a shooting in one of my gigs in Texas.
Somebody said, "Come to Texas, we'll shoot you."
Yeah, we cancelled the gig once because there was a guy who was a pretty good threat that he might come and shoot the place up. Right?
What city?
I don't want to make the people who went there feel bad, but it was Dallas. Anyway, but this is many years ago. Dallas, thank you for coming to the last few shows, right?
They got a good shooting pass there. JFK.
That
was one of the best shootings of all time.
What is it with the fucking book depository? Like, this just shows how cheap real estate was back in the day. Prime real estate in the middle. What would we use this high-rise tower? Maybe to use, some corporation can move in there.
Right.
Expensive housing.
Ooh.
Or we could just keep books.
Lots of books.
But couldn't that be in a warehouse on the outskirts of town? Why would we do that? We'll have a lonely book depository in the fucking center. Anyway.
That was made for assassinations.
So we cancelled the show once, and then we went back. The threat wasn't as big, and they think they figured it out and that type of stuff. But then I sort of rang the cops, and I said, "Hey, look, I'm still not feeling super safe here because the threats still keep coming in." They go, "We don't think it's a real thing. I wouldn't worry about it." I go, "Yeah, but could you, just have?"
They said that to OJ's wife.
Yeah, could you just have a presence? You know what I mean? And then they said to me, "Oh, you can pay for some uniform cops, right?" So with my own money, I bought 14 uniform cops.
What?
Yeah.
How much does that cost?
It was a lot of money. If it was just for a few hours.
Say it, just so we know.
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember the
okay.
figure, but it was enough to bother you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so we had a cop at each door, and then we had 4 cops on the edge of the stage, right? Anyway, so before the show starts, I'm sitting in my dressing room, and next door, all the cops are being briefed in another dressing room, right? And there's like whatever their sergeant is. They call it sergeant in America?
Sure, yeah, I think so.
So the sergeant goes like this. He goes, "Okay, we're going to need a cop at each door, and we're going to need 4 along the edge of the stage."
Pretty good.
Right? And then one of the cops went, "Excuse me, Sarge, why are we even here?" And then he goes, "Well, this particular comedian's been getting death threats." And he goes, "What's he been getting death threats for?" "Well, he does a routine on gun control." And then another cop goes, "Maybe you should learn to shut his fucking mouth then."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh,
The
this
cops
is
are going to
nice.
shoot you now. Yeah.
These are the ones that are going to protect me." And they weren't even like great cops. They were like fucking highway patrol cops with like the boots outside the pants, those type of
the highway patrol guys.
Yeah.
Stadies or whatever they call them in the Midwest. Those guys hated you the most because they love to use those guns.
They love them.
You really pissed off the wrong crew of people.
Yeah.
Texas is just not for you, maybe.
I know, I do all right in Texas,
No.
man. The Texas crowds always show up for me. I always used to think that people used to go, because of your comedy, you won't sell well in this market, that market, whatever. There's always people everywhere you go that are,
Sure. Sometimes the market you least expect.
Well, I did so much anti-religion stuff that I never thought I could do, say, Salt Lake City. You know what I mean? Because I thought, the Mormons. And then people show up.
Yeah, just not the Mormons.
For every culture, there's a counterculture, and even if that counterculture, the smaller they are, the more rebellious they seem to be.
Sure.
So
the more they want to show up.
Yeah, they want to show
they're
up.
fighting
and support.
against all the shit.
Yeah.
Why did you call this? Would you call this before we started Mexican Coke?
Mexican Coke.
Very racist.
We did an episode on my podcast. I don't know about that, but we talk about different topics. We did one on Coca-Cola. The Mexicans drink more Coca-Cola than any people on earth.
Do they?
They do. They
Is
love.
that why they work so hard? They got all that sugar
They
coursing
burn
through
it
their
off.
veins.
You know what I mean?
So they're
burn
all
it off.
skinny.
They love the Coca-Cola.
I love Mexican Coke. If I'm going to drink Coke, that's why we have those in the fridge of the studio. I don't drink cans. I think the taste of, say the word,
Aluminum.
Aluminum.
You say aluminum?
It is aluminum for sure.
My friend,
It tastes terrible
My
to me.
friend Ed Byrne does a joke about that, about Americans. He goes, "Americans, aluminum, aluminum, aluminum. We all know it's pronounced tin."
That's good. Wait, who's that? Ed
Byrne.
Ed Byrne. Is he an Australian guy?
He's an Irish guy. They say tin foil.
Tin
foil.
Yeah, the tin. Or like when they I actually think we should adopt some of those old English. I think rubbish is great for trash.
Yeah, well, I say people are rubbish. I say that's rubbish whenever something.
People are garbage.
Yeah, something rubbish. Or someone's talking garbage. I say, you're talking rubbish.
The loo is a great one too. I always liked that when I was over there.
Australia uses the term dunny, but that's a bit of an old term type of.
Dunny is a toilet?
Dunny's a toilet, yeah. And then your toilet brush would be a dunny brush.
Your dunny brush. Yeah, that sounds a little weird too.
I don't use that one anymore. Yeah. But sometimes when you move overseas, you become more like the nation you're from. Like you thicken it up and you go back and you're like, oh, no one's saying this anymore. It's like when you're in Spain and you visit a British person's house, there's always a picture of the fucking Queen on the wall. Mm-hmm. And you never see that in anyone's house in England, just a picture of the Queen on the fucking wall. But all of a sudden they're like, yeah, Her Majesty.
Right.
May she live and reign for long,
No, that is true. That's here in the States is the same way. I'm from Chicago. Everyone's from somewhere else in California. So then sometimes I'll be heavier Chicago, especially if I'm around Chicago people, just because it feels, you miss home. I think that's what it is.
Oh, you see them all, like all the actors and stuff from here go back home for Christmas, and then in January they're all saying y'all for a month.
All right. Hey, y'all. We're back, man. Yeah, with a thick accent. So wait, tell me, you put down the sauce, you put away the sauce because you were like, it's time, my daddy needs a break?
I'm an old dad. I just had another baby. I'm an old father, and the hangovers weren't what they were, and I woke up with so much regret all the time. And I'll say this, I don't believe, and probably there's people who are better trained at this than I, but I don't believe that I was an alcoholic. I believe I'm a drunk. Which is probably a form of alcoholism, but I could go a couple of weeks without drinking. But if I was to drink, I was to drink to get obliterated. I have no interest in one or two drinks. I've never had an interest. I don't get people who do that. Like I'll have a glass of wine with dinner. Like, what the fuck are you?
I had one last night. I'm a weirdo, I guess.
Yeah, I know that people. That seems to be the sensible way to go.
Yeah.
You should be commended. It's like people buy. Like my parents had a liquor cabinet that just seemed to be there my whole childhood. I never see them pull a bottle in, and then every now and again at Christmas, I'm going to have a Kahlua. Right. And you're just like, what the fuck? This thing never goes up or down. It's like if I bought a bottle of vodka, I opened it and then I drank it till it was done.
Was that your choice, vodka?
Yeah, towards the end. I only because of calories.
Oh, sad.
You know
that's when you have a problem.
Yeah.
when you only drink certain things because like you won't get fat. When people have vodka tonics, it makes me sad. I know they don't like it.
No.
They're doing that to stay thin.
No, I was tequila and vodka towards the end.
Tequila, though.
Yeah, growing up in Australia, tequila was bad. El Toro was the only brand. Remember that one with the little red hat on it? Little plastic red hat? And it's fucking cooking tequila everywhere else in the world. And that was like, and then like, I remember Quavo came in and we were like, fuck, have you tried this? It's gold. It's gold tequila. We were like losing our, I'm sure they have Patron and stuff there now.
Sure.
But they didn't before.
But that was the hot stuff back then. Cuervo was hot shit.
Quavo was, we never seen gold tequila. We'd only seen the clear type of stuff.
Blanco, yeah. That's so fun. And it's pretty shit.
Oh, it's dog shit.
It's shit, yeah.
It's dog shit. I worked in a Mexican restaurant, which was the only Mexican restaurant in Sydney when I was sort of 18, 19 as a waiter.
How many Mexicans are in Sydney? 6? 7?
I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure if I ever met one in Australia when I was growing up. Not one.
I can't imagine. How would they get there?
I met some South Americans. They can be, you might have thought maybe, but I'm not sure if I ever met a Mexican.
Well, Australia, I'm ignorant. It's almost all white and indigenous people. That's it.
No, you're way out.
Are there black people there?
There's black people now. There weren't black people for a very long time, and someone's going to ring up and get very upset about this.
I'm black and I'm Australian.
No, there's plenty of black people living there now. When I was growing up, there wasn't, apart from Aboriginals. But Australia had a policy called the White Australia policy. This was our government policy right up until, I want to say, the late 1950s. It might even be later. That's why I'm saying someone's going to correct me right now.
Sure, they always do.
But we had immigrants. So the most sort of diverse immigrants we used to have when I was a child were Italian and Greek people. And we thought they were like, whoa, fucking look at that fella. He looks like an Italian bloke. Oh. But then, so my school was 60% Asian. Maybe Sydney's got as many Asian people as you'd say Latino people are in California.
Southern California.
California. Yeah, so you got to think how close we are to Asia.
Yeah, you are. That's right.
So we have a huge Asian population as well.
But no black kids growing up. You never saw a black kid growing up.
We had one kid in my school. One kid, he was mixed race.
Okay.
But now there's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
In rural areas, you'd see a lot of Aboriginals and stuff like that. But now there's a lot of, they used to have a thing in the. See, this is why I hate doing podcasts. I know I'm about to get in trouble with everything I'm about to say.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They used to have a thing in the Australian Basketball League, which was so that the league wasn't just a whole lot of imported kids who didn't do well after college here. Didn't make the NBA. They go play in Australia or China or whatever.
Yeah.
The rule was that your team could only have 2 imported players, right?
2 black guys per team. Is that what
Yeah, that's so basically every team had 2 black guys.
You can't have more than 2 blacks. That was
Yeah, but that was just so they would nourish the Australian talent and you would keep the Australian talent. But what
sounds more like they didn't want an advantage for one team for the other.
But what would happen is, as soon as they started dating like an Australian bird, the team would be like, you should get married to her, because as soon as they became a citizen, they could bring another one over.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
you're like Catholic schools here in the United States. That's what they do here. Catholic schools in like the high school game, public school for basketball or football or whatever. It's the best of the community that lives near the school.
Right.
Catholic schools, private schools, they're allowed to draft kids. They can literally bring kids in. So some of the best high school sporting teams tend to be these Catholic schools and private schools because they literally they have a draft. I mean, it's illegal to do that. They do it.
Right.
They get to convince a kid to come to, St. Peter and Paul because they can do that. They can pick people out.
Well, that's how Ben Simmons came about. His father was a African-American basketball player who came out to play in Australia, married an Australian bird, and then, we have Ben Simmons, right?
Oh, you have Ben Simmons.
And the thing is, fucking hell, like we have a great team now. We got the bronze in the Olympics. We have
Good for you, by the way.
No, it's pretty amazing.
It is.
It's a small country.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. All our starters are in the NBA. When I was growing up, it was just Luke Longley. That was it.
So, I'm a Chicago Bulls fan, so, Big dog.
Did you see that he wasn't in the documentary?
Yeah, I noticed that.
It was noticeable,
it was
right?
It was deliberate, for sure.
I believe that he really, really... I actually have a friend of a friend, so I've got a little bit of inside information on this, but I might be incorrect, but I believe that he disliked Jordan so much that he did not want to be on the documentary.
I don't think that's a mystery. I think a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
Jordan had a lot of enemies in his own camp.
Well, you saw through the documentary, he was quite patronizing to Luke Longley. He was like, good game, Luke.
Bitch. Yeah.
Luke.
Yeah. And he also used to bully a lot of those guys because he thought it was bringing the best player out of them, but also, I think it made them resent the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Because he was a superstar. He got away with anything he wanted. If social media was around, he'd be in deep shit.
Yeah.
Those guys all would have been clipped. You know what I mean? Now you think about how diligent LeBron or any of these pro athletes have to be because every second of every day is eyes on them.
Yeah.
Jordan, those guys, he was sneaking away to Atlantic City, gambling all night long, partying with chicks in hotel rooms.
Yeah.
He got away with all that stuff. You could never do that shit today.
Yeah, someone would post something.
Yeah,
someone
you would
take
get
a photo
clipped.
or something.
Hey, Jordan's at the fucking poker tip right on someone's Instagram. I mean, you'd be all over. Even in the private world, if you try to go get private tables and high roll, they'd still get you. A dealer would get you. It's the same way where like when you see celebrities land at certain cities and you're like, how do these people fucking know where their hotel is? Someone's ratting to a buddy, yo, you won't believe who's staying at the hotel.
I just remember the story, right? So I was at a blackjack table once and I was in like one of the shittier casinos in Vegas. I was like Circus or something. I was just walking through and I thought I'd stop for a second at the table. And someone came up and asked for a photo with me and then they were like, no cameras, casino, blah, blah, blah. And then the lady at the blackjack table was like this. She goes, are you famous? And I said, oh, only if you know me. Right, which is how
pretty
fame
relative.
works, right?
Yeah.
And I went, only if you know me. And then she went, she goes, I was famous for a while.
Oh.
And I was like, and then it spiked my interest. I went, oh, this is how confidential people keep it. This is one of the dealers. And I said, how are you famous? And she just goes, I sent nudes to Anthony Weiner. She was one of the Anthony Weiner girls. And she sold all the texts and everything. She was one of the blokes that got in trouble. So I was
Good
like,
for her.
I better watch what I'm saying in front of you. You seem very proud of your bringing down of a person.
You slowly put away those dick pics. You're like, yeah, I guess I can't show her any of these. That's so wild. She's real. The fact that she's voicing it is proof why a lot of that stuff is people want the attention.
Yeah.
That's a big get for them.
Oh, yeah.
And she got a big payout, I'm sure she got.
I'm sure she got paid something for, if not from him, from newspapers that bought the story.
Yeah.
Somebody would pay something.
Yeah. Do you get harassed by any of those paparazzi? Any of that stuff? Does it ever bother you? They get you?
I have had things written about me and stuff like that, and some of it true, some of it not, some of it completely fabricated, some of it. I've stopped looking. I'll just stop
Yeah, you
looking.
can't.
I don't worry about it. I know people who are much more famous than me, and that seems to be what they do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that must be the way forward. I'm not a big social media person. I just find it to be, it's just bragging, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everything's just bragging.
Yeah, look what I'm doing.
Yeah, here I am. Like every time, let's say you're on a private jet or something, which I do not very regularly. In this,
I'm on private jets all the time.
very, very
Every
irregular.
week I'm
Very,
on one.
Whatever friends or other comedians you bring with you, they all Insta story. Oh, here we are, the thing. And I always think to myself, who's watching that and going, oh, I'm so happy for Dave.
Yeah.
This is good. That's really made my day. That's picked up my spirits.
Right.
He's flying there in style.
Meanwhile, this person's working 3 jobs. Yeah,
Yeah,
who's ever your fans are working 2 or 3 jobs just to feed a couple of kids. I never understood it. I
do that very rarely, by the way, to my friends. It's not a common thing.
he private jetted to here and from one part of LA.
In here, we pour whiskey.
Hey, you got a great idea and you want to turn it into a beautiful website? Squarespace is the place. I've spoken about Squarespace on this podcast a multitude of times. And I told you, I used it to design my own site, multiple sites actually, and it's so simple. I'm not a smart so smart man, I can admit it. And they've got these beautiful templates that you can use. You can create your own if you want to go rogue. But I like to use the templates that they provide. You can blog or publish content. You can sell products and services online, whether you're doing merch, whether you're just publishing your words. If you need to get your words out there to the real world, email campaigns can help grow and engage your audience with Squarespace email campaign and create powerful email content that matches your website with your existing products. It's pretty cool. Blog posts and much, much more. They have powerful e-commerce functionality that lets you sell anything online. It's super easy, super convenient. Everything is optimized for mobile right out of the box, which is great because everybody is on their mobile cellular phones all the time. A new way to buy domains and choose over 200 extensions, analytics that help you grow in real time. My favorite, 24/7 award-winning customer support, nothing to patch or upgrade ever, free and secure hosting, built-in search engine optimization. So whether you're an artist, a weightlifter, a bodybuilder, a sculptor, a poet, an Etsy person, a museum curator, a filmmaker, a hairstylist, a makeup artist. So many things you can do. You want to put out your stuff online, go to squarespace.com. Code is whiskey. Squarespace.com/whiskey. Squarespace.com/whiskey for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the offer code whiskey to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Guys, I've talked about it pretty often on this show. I'm a big promoter of getting yourself someone to speak with. I think it's a wonderful thing to do, especially in this day and age. We're learning more about ourselves, our issues, and how we need to work them out. That's why BetterHelp is big with Whisk Ginge. They are going to assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can start communicating in under 48 hours, which is pretty incredible. Not a crisis line, guys. Not a self-help line. It's professional counseling done securely online. You can access this from anywhere, all over the globe. Clients worldwide. You can log into your account anytime, send a message to your counselor, and you're going to get a thoughtful and timely response. Look, it's easy and free to change counselors if need be, so you don't get locked into somebody, and it's more affordable than traditional offline counseling because waiting in a room is not fun. It's boring. It's weird and uncomfortable and cold. Why did I have to pay $8 just to park in this building to feel uncomfortable in this waiting room with these other people? I don't want to do it. Get yourself some better help from the comfort of your own home. And if you want to find out if other people are doing it and how they're doing it, I got to tell you, over 1 million people. Go to betterhelp.com/reviews. You can read the reviews, find out. And visit betterhelp.com/whiskey. That's better, H-E-L-P, help.com/whiskey. Join the over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Whiskey Ginger listeners get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/whiskey. 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/whiskey.
Ginger. I like gingers.
No, I do understand that. Now for me, social media has become, it used to be really fun, and now it's a way to connect with the fans, and it's purely for fanship promotional stuff. So like, I know I've lost a lot of my like, hey, here's a slice of my life. Because now I'm like, hey man, here's stuff that you can engage with career-wise and come see me at a show. Or
yeah, I it's very good for that.
Yeah.
But it's like, so for example, I just had a baby and...
What did you name it?
Charlie.
Charlie's a great name.
So,
boy or girl?
A little boy, but we were going to call it Charlie if it was a girl.
Right, could have been both.
I'll tell you a funny little story. So my son wrote a letter for school, And my son is 9, and he's just so happy to have a brother. He's been an only child forever. And so he had to, type this letter out. They teach him, young with the fucking
Typing
computer.
at 9?
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
I learned like 5 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just played a computer hacker in an episode of SWAT, right? I just fucking...
Just hunting and pecking. They're like, Jim.
I haven't opened a computer for years. I didn't really check what the scene... I didn't read the full script. I'm not sure if my character was a goodie or a baddie. And I had 4 lines, and one of the lines was, all right, I'm breaking through the mainframe. Like, I think you can see me just going, but anyway.
Just on the mouse. Like, Jim, I don't think that's how you crack into the main. No, this is it. If I click enough windows, I'm in the mainframe.
Yeah, I'm not a computer guy, and I was just doing that with my hands. So anyway, my son had to write a letter about what's his favorite thing, and he said, my favorite thing is my brother Chuck. And he said, and Chuck does this, and Chuck does that, and Chuck wears this clothes, and Chuck does this thing, and Chuck does that thing. And it was a lovely, sweet little letter. And I said, Hank, that was wonderful. I love that. Thank you so much. What a lovely letter to write about your brother. And I said, I didn't know you called him Chuck. And then my son looks at me. He sort of looks both ways like he's going to tell a bad joke, And he goes, yeah, Dad, I didn't know how to spell Charlie, so I did a workaround.
A smart kid.
He didn't want to ask the teacher how to spell it because the teacher would be like, it's your fucking brother, you idiot. Right? So he just sort of went, oh, Chuck, it's a CH in front of a fuck.
Chuck
I've got
sounds
this.
nice.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he hears fuck. Are you cuss in front of the kids? Come on.
Not a lot, but my son doesn't swear. He just doesn't swear, and he goes that not yet. But he's 9, So you think you'd hear 1 or 2 of them, and then he'd come to me and say such and such a school said a bad word, and you'd be like, ooh, like that. But it's very hard for me, being as sweary as I am, and then he's going to be watching my stuff soonish, whether I like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I do swear in front of him, I guess, just day-to-day swearing, but I try not to.
I heard it so much, I got so used to it, it became a part of my language.
Yeah.
It's hard to grow up with it and not get into it.
My family's good swearers. We're good swearers. There's nothing worse than hearing someone who's bad at swearing, and we do it very... we slip the word in, and it's not like we're not just people who hit ourselves with a hammer on our thumb and go fuck. We use the word fucking to explain. You know what I mean?
That's what I do.
One of
yeah.
these fucking things and the fucking thing. Yeah.
But then if you do that so much, it almost goes away. People don't even notice it.
They don't even notice it. Yeah.
Yeah, like people have said that at a show before. Where they're like, a woman said to me one time, the guy in front of you was quite dirty.
Yeah.
And he wasn't at all.
Yeah.
The guy that went before me. And I was like, that's because you're not, you just, the way I speak is just, you don't notice that I'm saying it.
Is there anything worse than a comic who isn't particularly good, trying to do offensive humor, dying on their ass, and then saying something like, all right, so you're that type of crowd, are you? All right. And you're like, dude, you're just not charming.
Yeah. It was you. It has nothing to do with them.
Yeah, you upset them.
Right.
It's like, look, I say cunt a lot. I've become slightly synonymous with saying cunt, and it's something that I lean into now.
Should be the name of your next special.
They won't let me. The people at Netflix
won't sell well.
Yeah, they won't let me do it. And so
you can cunt on it.
But I was saying it last night. I was doing a gig and I was doing a joke about 69, and I was just going, "You're licking her cunt, and her cunt's doing it." And even me, I went, geez, I'm saying this a bit much. Yeah. And it's like because I think that's what the audience want from me,
They do a little bit though, right?
A little bit, yeah.
They expect that.
People do, like, before they come to gigs, they do the gambling pool on how many times I'll say it. People are doing counts.
Is in Vegas, can you bet on Jim's cunt count?
People always write to me and like they say, hey, I'm in a betting pool with my friends. I've said 46 times, can you try to get it around there? I'm going to win some money. People write to me and do that all the time. And it's like, and then at the end, it's not as much as you think. It's like over the course of an hour, it's maybe 19 times or something.
That's a lot. That's still a lot. You say it like
but people think it's going to be like 80 times or something. It's not. It's not.
You should have a cunt counter on stage.
Yeah. Well, my first special with HBO, when I first came out to America, they saw my set. They'd researched me so much that they made me, do sets in front of them. They followed me around, do gigs because, I wasn't known in America. And then they only note they gave me is they said, look, we want you to do well. We want people to stay tuned in, and our ratings work in 15-minute blocks. It's not just your ratings, it's your attention after 15 minutes.
Sure.
So can you not say cunt for the first 15 minutes? Right?
Can you?
And I was like, No problem. I was like, no problem.
I got it.
And if you watch my special at like 15 minutes and 4 seconds, because I had a cunt light at the back.
Right.
That was like the light shined on. That was like you can go back to saying cunt. It was like that bit in Rocky. Switch back to Southpaw, kid.
Go back.
And so then I think the first line was Aunt Panda's a bunch of cunts. It was the most innocuous little slip in of the word
But it's
cunt,
perfect.
but it was off and running.
Gets you right back into where you belong.
Yeah, so that was the thing. But back then, if you remember, like 10 years ago, comedians say it now, but 10 years ago, it was still banned in a lot of comedy clubs.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, cunt was banned in a lot of They said you can say anything, just don't say cunt. Yeah, there was a few.
I know it was it was kind of a thing, but people could just get away with it.
Not in all comedy clubs, but there was a few where they were like, our fans, they think that their audience is different from the rest of the country's.
It's not.
Here at the Chuckle Banana Club, where,
Love the Chuckle Banana Club, by the way.
I was about to say the Chuckle Hut or something like that, and then I thought, fucking hell, there'll be somewhere called the Chuckle Hut. And and I know there's a place called Bananas, another one called Coconuts, something called Ha Ha, fucking
Laugh Hut, the Laugh Hut. Yeah. What have you replaced booze with? You gotta.
I'm a big weed head, man.
Are you smoking a lot of weed?
No, I just eat edibles 5 days a week.
You don't like to smoke because of the inhalation in the lungs?
Yeah, I just I like edibles because it's such a simple thing, and also you don't smell like smoke. And
you take them in the morning?
No. I take them now. Well, at the moment, I take them after my baby's gone to bed, and I chill out and play. I play, Call of Duty with my brother until like 1 a.m. because he's in Australia. Yeah, me and my brother, we were never not close, but we talk every 2 weeks for 5 minutes. A pretty basic old conversation.
That sounds like brother sister.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Stuff.
Like, how you doing? You're good. Good to hear. Whatever. And since COVID, we started playing Call of Duty with each other about 4 or 5 nights a week. And you just chat so freely because you're like, oh, there's a guy behind there. There's a guy behind there. So how's the kids? Oh, yeah. Oh, she's finishing school. Oh, I just got shot, But you get more across that way because it's real chit chat. It's like you're in a car talking to each other.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. That's the way to bond brothers in the world.
And so me and him had never been closer.
How old are you? And what's the age separation?
He's 4.5 years older than me.
Okay.
And so me and him play Call of Duty every night. I don't know how. What was I talking about before? I get high.
You get high, shit.
I get high and play Call of Duty. I got high last night. I went to the improv party. I didn't. I don't drink, but I like the weed. The problem with the weed is when I gave up drinking, I thought I'd lose weight because of all the booze. But then
You haven't lost?
No, I'm about 10 pounds heavier than I normally am on TV. If I'm on TV, I like to be 10 pounds lighter. I have a TV weight in my head that no one else.
So Hollywood.
That no one else knows that I know.
Yeah, that's your dirty little secret.
Oh yeah. No, before I do a special, I starve myself. I lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks.
What do? You just don't eat food at all?
500 calories a day.
Get a colonic?
Yeah, 500 calories a day, and I just do that.
You ever got a colonic? You ever got the booty clean?
I have done it once, but I got such bad hemorrhoids. Everyone can just leave that the fuck alone now. I've retired my asshole. Like if I was a gay fella, I'd have to become a top, even if I was a bottom. Just go, my bottom days are over.
You show him, and he's like, "Oh, the store's closed."
Oh, I believe my asshole looks so horrific that if I was ever in prison, I think I'd be safe. I think they'd go for it, and then they'd look at it, and I'd go, "Is this what you want?" But I'm so my self-esteem. I'm such a fucking weak-minded fool. I'd feel the rejection after they didn't do it to me.
You don't want me?
I go, what? What's wrong with me?
I could clean it up a little bit.
What's wrong?
Make it nice.
It's just a large flap of skin that's engorged.
You've had hemorrhoids your whole life? You had them your whole life?
Since early 20s, yeah.
Why? What for? You're pushing too much, man? Let it flow.
I've had a lot of different theories on this. I've had doctors say you're pushing too much. You have some Metamucil. I've done it all. Now I just think it's my lot in life, and I don't even worry with the preparation H. I just fucking do it.
You just deal with it?
Yeah, push it back in and
Tough
move
guy.
on with my fucking day.
I'm a tough guy. I don't treat my hemorrhoids, pal.
Oh no, my hemorrhoids, they're toughened up as well. They've calloused over, and they're just they're in for the long haul. They don't care.
The weed is taking over for you. Because me, I quit weed. That's funny. I all but put it away. I'll smoke a joint every once in a while with a good friend. But it's hard for me now, man, because if I get too stoned, I just feel so disconnected that I'm like, oh, man, I can't be functioning around humans. If I get too high, like how much do you know to take the perfect amount anymore?
Yeah, I 20 milligrams is what
that's the good number I found, right? Between 10 and 20 is kind of sweet.
Yeah, 10, sometimes you don't even feel it or you feel it very little.
Yeah.
And 20 will get you a nice high and then 30 will get me very high. But occasionally I'll do the whole, all right, I'm doing 60 just to fucking
Just
see.
to get rocked.
Just to push the boat out there and see what happens. Yeah, I went to a party the other day, and I thought I went by myself. It was a friend of mine's birthday, and I went by myself to this party. And I could have done with having my wife or a friend there, you know what I mean? But I thought, I'm not drunk. I won't make a fool of myself. But I was high, and I bored the shit out of some people. Like, bored the fucking shit out of them with mundane fucking subjects.
Yeah.
It's like, I got to, like, as I said on the podcast, we do a different topic each podcast, right? That's the whole thing. And so some lady went, I was talking, and she goes, oh, I like your accent. She goes, you sound like a pirate. And I went, well,
pirates.
I don't really, no, I can hear a bit of Jack Sparrow in me, a little bit, right?
Yeah, that's because he doesn't know. That's because he's like an amalgamation of every country around the world.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? But because I'd done a podcast recently on pirates, I went like this, well, actually, the pirate accent comes from Cornwall. That's why you have musicals like The Pirates of Penzance. If you go down there, the people of Cornwall definitely go, ooh, ar, yar, ar, ar. They make that noise. And then I kept on going on, and then someone walked up and went, hey, how are you guys doing? And this girl went, wonderful. I'm learning so much. I was like, oh, God.
Just loading the bullets in her gun.
Yeah,
No, it's great. Keep telling that story about pirates. That's what happens when you get too high, though. You get in the middle of a conversation, and then you're stoned, and then I can hear myself go, fuck, this isn't going anywhere. I got to get out of this. How do I get out of this?
Yeah.
And you got to go, so I got to go to the bathroom. That's my exit. I always got to go to the bathroom. If I need to get out of something, I go, I'll be right back. I got to piss.
You're a smarter man than I.
Go to the bathroom. It's the best way to get out of stuff. And also, bathroom is the best way to leave a party. I Irish goodbye every party I've ever been to.
Yeah, I don't say goodbye.
Can't.
But you can never get out.
And what are you saying goodbye for? When I talk to you and I see you and then we talk, when that's done, it's over.
Yeah.
I don't need to come back and go, I wanted to say goodbye before I go. I'm gone.
Yeah.
Also, my last memory, I hope, was a good one when we last spoke. So you don't want to have a weird goodbye and then that's what they're thinking about when they think about you again.
Also, the goodbye can be so loaded. There's so much of do I swap numbers with this person? We mentioned golf earlier. Do I dare say we should golf together?
You're not going to do it.
You know what I mean? Like, or do I just leave and go, it's nice talking to you. I'll see you again in 6 years.
Maybe.
You know, I don't.
Or bye. And say something nice about me when I die. Do you golf, by the way?
I picked it up in COVID.
Ah.
Yeah.
You piqued my interest. I'm a big golfer.
I love it. I'm
obsessed.
I hit around 105, but I'm getting better. I used to hit like 120, but
that's good.
I can now use the driver. I couldn't use it for the first 6 months.
What would you use? 3-wood?
No, I would persist with it, but I couldn't get any elevation. I would persist, but I was hopeless.
Right.
And I was, now I can, every time I play, I get 3 pars or something like that.
Not bad.
Occasionally I get it, but I do stuff.
Okay.
I hit a 45 on the front 9 the other day, and I was really chuffed with myself, and then I fucked it up and ended at 100. But I can see I do like every golfer. I do those 2 or 3 shots that keep you coming back every fucking time.
Yeah.
That are just like, that's as good as anyone could do that shot. That's
Totally.
a pro shot.
Right.
And then
because you're new enough to golf. This is how many years have you played now?
Getting on to 2 years, all the COVID.
Yeah, that's so new. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been playing for 20 years, something like that. On and off and on and off.
What's your handicap?
My index is like a 4. I'm like a
Oh, you're a very good golfer.
pretty good. Yeah. At the place I usually play at, I'm a 7 at that club. My index is a 4 across the board of all the, the USGA, whatever that, people that don't know who don't care. But yeah, I usually shoot in the 70s and the high 70s.
And who do you golf with?
Yeah, I just had Alfonso Ribeiro on here. Do you know who that is?
No.
I golf with him a lot. He played Carlton on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, yes.
Him and I golf a lot.
Of course I know who he is.
You know Tom Dreesen? Do you know who that is?
No, I don't know anyone.
Well, you do know him, even if you don't. He did the Tonight Show more than any comic in history. He was like buddies with Sinatra. He was part of that group.
Oh.
He kicks around LA still, but he's a corporate guy at this point. He's not at the Improv on a Wednesday.
Right.
But he's a great golfer, and he's always around there. There's actually a lot of comics that golf. Bert Kreischer talked about starting a golf comedy thing, and it fell through because of COVID. It was literally the beginning of COVID. We had joked about, let's do a tournament get-together thing. And all of these guys responded who golfed, and there was a lot of comics that golf.
Yeah.
Chris Porter. I mean, there's a ton of dudes. Brad Williams, but
Brad Williams is an excellent golfer.
He's a really good golfer, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you play with him?
I played once with him. He's very good.
Yeah. There was probably 20, 25 golfers. Nate Bargatze's a huge golfer. He's obsessed.
Nate's meant to be excellent.
Yeah, he's obsessed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's to a degree where he put a Sim in his house?
Yeah, I started sort of, with a couple of friends who had also started, so we're all sort of at the same level. Forest Shore.
But were you an athlete when you were a kid?
No.
No.
I'm one of the most uncoordinated people in the world, but I'm also one of the most competitive people in the world, which is not a great combo.
Terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you're as uncoordinated as me, you want to be a bit sort of like a bit more casual about winning.
Yeah.
I have Jordan's competitiveness with fucking my skill.
Yeah, with your skill set, with yours
against Jordan.
I know. So Forrest plays. Is he good?
Yeah. Forrest is slightly better than me. He's been playing a little. Yeah, he plays with me.
Yeah, he looks like he might have played football when he was a kid.
Yeah. I road crew. I used to be a lot trimmer. I rode crew.
That's actually good. That's very good.
I spent a lot of
You're
time.
around him all the time.
He opens for me and we do the podcast together. So
How long has he been opening for you for years?
Yeah, he was one of those guys when I first moved to America. Before I was doing theaters or anything, I went and gigged and I did like Marco Island, Captain Brian's.
I did Off the Hook. I was there. I did that fucking club.
And he opened for me, and then I did like the one in Coconut Grove, the improv there. I think it's an improv. And then I just had a couple of weekends where he just showed up, and then I just started requesting him, and then ever since I've just he's been opening for me, and he worked on my TV show. He's a great guy.
Yeah, no, he's a good dude. Yeah, very funny guy.
The Captain Brian's. I'll tell you my Captain Brian story, right? I had a couple of Captain Brian story. One where there was like 4 people showed up when I first got to America.
Oh, dude.
And then I said, let's just fucking have dinner together to the audience. I said, let's all just sit down and we'll all order the fucking lobster or whatever they're fucking doing.
Right.
And I'll tell you a few stories like we're at a dinner party. I think that might be better.
It was probably better.
It was better.
Yeah.
It was a better experience for everyone. Better for me, better for them. It was better for everyone. And then another time I went there and it was Thanksgiving weekend, and
Tough.
I believe that Megan Fox comes from that area.
Really? She does? She's a Marco Island girl?
Yeah, she was back there for Thanksgiving, and she was there with Brian Austin Green.
At your show?
Yeah, but this is 12 years ago or something like that. Like this is like
right.
her in the beginning of Transformers type
Right.
of time, right? So the hottest woman on earth or whatever. And she was in a baseball cap and she had her hair tied back and she was with her sister and her brother-in-law, and her brother-in-law seemed to be some guy in construction or something. And so the 4 of them were sitting there and I didn't sort of I recognized him, but I didn't really recognize her. Then afterwards...
Says a lot about you, by the way.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Ooh, Brian.
Well, I grew up watching 90210.
No,
I knew who he was.
I know.
Anyway, so
Eyes are glued to Brian
then
Austin
afterwards
Green.
I figured out, I went, oh God, that's Megan Fox. He's married to Megan Fox. Fucking hell, that's Megan Fox. And so after the show, there was maybe 12 people in the audience in this little tiny thing. They were just trying to find something to do with their night before Thanksgiving, go out with the family, Anyway, so I'm standing outside. I'm probably smoking, and I was, and Brian Austin Green walks up to me and he goes, "Hey, you got a light on you?" And I was like, "Yeah." Gave him the light, and then he said, "So, what gigs have you been doing? Are you traveling around or whatever? I liked your show. Whatever." He was being very nice like that. And then Megan Fox walked up to Brian Austin Green and goes, "Have you got the lighter on you, hun?" And then he pulled the lighter out of his pocket. And I was like, you just wanted to talk to me. You already had a fucking lighter and you knew it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Brian Austin Green is a fan, dude.
And he was like, yeah, you got me. Yeah. Like that, right? You got me. Anyway, so then I sat and I drank with Brian and Megan for a couple of hours, right?
Wow.
And so we're drinking, and then word got out in this little tiny, island, Marco Island, that Megan Fox was in this bar, in this court. People just showed up and just started staring through the window at her. You know what I mean? In the bar. And person after person would come up to her and go, "Hi, can I have a photo?" And she would go, look, and understandably so, she was regarded as, and still the best looking woman in the world at that stage.
Sure.
Right? And so she wasn't done up. Her hair wasn't done. Her makeup wasn't done. She was wearing a ball cap. And they're like, "Can I have a photo?" And she's like, "I don't do photos, but I'll sign anything you want."
That's
right?
nice. That's a good exchange.
Yeah. And then they were like this. And so one after another, "Hey, it's so nice to see you." And I don't do photos, but I will sign anything you want, over and over and over again. And then this big sort of fat guy who looked like the comic book guy from The Simpsons walks up, and he's from England, and he walks up and goes, "Can I have a photo?" right? And remember, I just played in front of like 12 people. Can I have a photo? Megan Fox goes, I don't do photos. I will sign anything you want. And he goes, Jim, I've been watching you for years. I watched you in the Comedy Store like 10 years ago in London and all that type of stuff. And I was like, I do photos. Right? and Megan Fox took the camera and took the photo, and that guy would have never known that Megan Fox
Didn't give a shit.
No, he didn't even know it was her.
Oh, it's a brilliant. Oh my God.
So he got a photo taken by Megan Fox of fucking me. Like he would have fucking lost his mind if he knew.
In here, we pour whiskey.
You ever wanted to make your home feel safer? Yeah, you probably do. You want to leave all your doors and windows open is not a good idea. There's no better time than right now. Right now, our friends at SimpliSafe are giving Whisk Ginge listeners access to their New Year's holiday deals. 20% off their award-winning home security, and your first month is free when you sign up for the interactive monitoring service. SimpliSafe is incredible. It has everything you need to make your home super safe. Indoor and outdoor cameras. They sent me a box. I set it up, and if I can do it, trust me, you can do it. There's comprehensive sensors, all monitored around the clock by trained professionals who send you the help the instant that you need it. They were even named the best home security system of 2021. Probably going to be the same in the new year. They were rated that way by U.S. News and World Report. You can easily customize a system for your home online in minutes. It's extremely easy. There's no long-term contracts, which is great because aren't we sick of those? And it's really, really easy way to start feeling a bit more peace of mind as you roll into the new year. So hurry, make your home safer. Take 20% off your SimpliSafe system, and your first month is free when you sign up for the interactive monitoring service. Go ahead and visit simplisafe.com/whiskey, simplisafe.com/whiskey for 20% off your entire system. Keep your home safe for yourself and your loved ones with SimpliSafe.
Ginger. I like gingers.
He probably didn't care. He wouldn't give a fuck.
No,
he came to see you.
Yeah, he came to see me.
I can't believe I didn't know she was from that. I lost my virginity on that island.
Well, I'm not going to say for sure she's from that island, or maybe her sister's from that island, but she was definitely doing Thanksgiving with her family there.
Yeah.
So, I just stomped on your story. You just said you lost your virginity on that island, and I just acted like you said nothing.
No. I've said it on the show before. They know. I've talked about it. That's where I lost my... Marco Island was the place of magic. Condom broke, too, first go.
Oh, good.
Yeah, real good.
Bit of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. A lot of freak out, a lot of fun. Condom broke.
I always say that about, like, I'm doing a routine about it at the moment about how the gays, of short course, you have the AIDS thing, and that's, but that's all but...
What is that?
Yeah.
The AIDS thing?
Yeah, like the gays have the AIDS thing, you see, the HIV and the AIDS
What is it?
thing. Oh, it's an immune disorder that have that goes through blood, right? But you know what's scarier? Having a baby, that leaves you with more... A broken condom when you're a teenager will leave you with much more fear than gay anal sex.
Right.
Like gay anal sex, you go, well, at least I'm not going to be a dad.
Right.
So the condom broke. Did you come inside her?
Sure did. Sure did.
Wow.
Let it sit. Yeah. It
How old were you?
It felt so good. 16.
Yeah.
Perfect timing. Captain Morgan's. We traded a bottle of Captain Morgan for a hotel room because we were staying with family.
Wow.
So a guy an older dude had a hotel room, and I gave him a bottle of Captain Morgan's for his hotel room I was like, can I have it for a couple hours? We were there for 6 minutes, 5.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Came right back out real sad, real depressed, real sad. It was miserable as shit. She hated every second of it, and it was seconds. And then condom broke, and I panicked for the next, 4 months.
I lost my virginity I lost my virginity in this place in Sydney that was just a little apartment above some shops in a thing where the girl lived.
Mm-hmm. How old were you?
I was January.
You were January years old?
No, it was in January, and I was 15. But my birthday's in February.
So you're about to be 16.
I was about to be 16.
And
So 15's a bit of a bullshit to go. I was 15. I was deep into my 15. Right? And I hadn't kissed a girl until I was 14. So it all really ramped up pretty quick. You know, I was getting...
Kiss fuck?
Yeah,
kiss fuck, that's it?
Straight in. I went, kiss, finger, fuck. Pretty quick the dominoes fell.
You hit a bunt and then got a home run immediately after. Yeah, that's good. That's good, man.
And then, but what I do is now to this day, it's on a fairly main road, main road in Roseville in Sydney, and you have to drive this. If you're coming from the city to my parents' house, you have to drive along this road. And every time I drive along the road when I'm back in Australia, I do the same joke. I point at the window and I go, "There it is, everyone." Can't imagine what. They haven't put the statue up and not even a plaque or anything. You feel like this is some historical spot of significance. You know, I do this same joke all the time.
Such a dad joke.
Yeah. I point it out to every new girl I've ever brought to Australia. And I go, there it is. That's where the magic started but never ended. Anyway, so I do all that. I've done this joke for so many years that my sister-in-law rear-ended a car as she was driving by because she had that natural reaction to look up at the window because I always do.
She had to look up, give it a little acknowledgement, and smoked another car. That's family, though, man. At least she knows and recognizes your history and your past.
I know
that
where
molded who you are. Where's that girl today?
Well, okay, so I don't use my last name. I use my middle name as a stage name.
Sure.
My last name is Nugent.
What?
Like Ted Nugent.
Really?
Yeah, my real last name's
That's
Nugent.
why the gun thing doesn't go over well in certain places.
Isn't it amazing that I could have been the other famous Nugent that's the anti-gun guy, like Nugent versus Nugent. They would have, things would have gone down.
Yeah, man, you'd be way more famous.
Yeah.
Wait, why did Nugent go away?
Just Jefferies sounds better. The Jim Jefferies, Jim Nugent.
I guess Nugent isn't a nice sounding name.
Yeah, I was brought on stage the first time, and Jeffrey Nugent, and someone called me Godfrey Nugent or something. And it's just like Godfrey.
I like that.
Godfrey Nugget.
Godfrey Nugget's hilarious. Mr. Nugget.
Yeah. So,
yeah, Nugent's tough. It also can be mispronounced so often. Like when you were a kid in school, where they say
it's more common in America than it is in Australia. I never met another Nugent in Australia. I'm sure there are some, but I never met any.
It's just British. Is Nugent British?
I never met them in England.
I never heard
loads
of
of them. I meet them in America.
Huh.
So, what was I talking about?
No, you took out your last.
Oh, so I took out the last name. So I was telling a story or something like that about, a girl I had sex with or losing my virginity or something like that. And the girl I lost my virginity to, sister, was in the audience, but she didn't know because I'd changed my name because she remembered me that I had changed my name from the thing. So that's kind of interesting.
That's wild.
Yeah.
She was in the crowd.
She was in the crowd and she's just like, what the fuck?
That's my
That's Godfrey Nugget.
I love you, Godfrey Nugget. You should actually do a tour as Godfrey Nugget, your alter ego, this other personality you get to create.
Yeah.
Are you making a special right now? Are you working on an hour?
I have a new sort of hour and a half that I'm doing on tour at the moment, and I will record the special. I don't want to do it too quickly because then I've burned the material. I want to, this
Tour
material's got a little bit more touring time before I record it. So maybe 10 months, 11 months, and then release it in a few months after that. So there should be a special, in a year or so.
You going to go back to Netflix or do it somewhere else?
I have another one with Netflix that I'm going to
So you have a
do.
deal with them, yeah.
Well, it's over after this special, but I have another one with Netflix. I don't think I'm going to do any more specials. I think this is me done for specials, at least for a period of time, for a few years.
Your boy Leno never did one.
He never did one?
It was a great interview I read in, I was Rolling Stone maybe, and they were like, why do you choose not to do one? All your peers are doing them over the years, and some guys who never did one, or haven't done one, like Romano put out a new one on Netflix a couple years ago. He was like, I just love live comedy so much. I'm passionate about performing live. Come see me. I want you to come see me live. Enough people already know me that if I'm there, they'll see me live. I kind of like that idea. I don't know if that's the answer for everybody. But I like it.
It might mean that everyone goes away if I don't do specials, but for him, it's like people will still come and see.
That's what I mean. I think it doesn't work for everyone, but I like the idea. Was like, yeah, he doesn't need it. It's cool to just keep that secret of like, oh, you want to see it? You got to go see it live.
Yeah.
Seinfeld didn't really put out a ton of specials either. I mean, there's
two.
Yeah, there's not a lot of guys that
he put out one special, which was retiring his material. Right? I don't want to shit on Seinfeld.
No, go ahead.
But one of them was like, "I'm telling you for the last time." That was the thing. Oh, these jokes, you'll never hear them again.
Yeah.
Right. So
you get in a car, you get on a bus.
Like it started with a funeral.
Yeah.
People throwing the jokes into a coffin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is the end of these jokes. You'll never hear them again. Then he did a documentary called Comedian, maybe a decade later, that was all about him writing a new set. It's like, can you believe it?
12 years later.
Yeah. And then he did another special that went over all of his jokes where he rebirthed half the ones that he told you for the last time.
I know.
And then he did another. So he's really got two specials.
Yeah, two.
But he's one of those guys that believes in the whole theory that it should be, you don't throw away a good bit. You keep it going. And I'm sort of I don't know, because I'm thinking of after this tour, doing a greatest hits tour.
That's kind of fun.
Because people go, oh, why don't you do the gun thing, the muscular dystrophy thing? I have some big set pieces, you know, and I feel like if I just choose 5 of them and just go, all right, these are my most requested bits, and people go in with the knowledge. No one can go, oh, stale material that I've heard before. It'll be easy for me. I think the crowd will like it. Maybe it won't work. And
No.
I'll be able to tell quite quickly
It'll
within a
work.
few shows if people don't dig it.
People want the hits, man.
Yeah.
They
but-
do. At some point, when you've created a library or you've cultivated such a big fan base that loves and appreciates those, you can also do what rock stars do when they return into a fucking reunion tour. They sprinkle in some new shit, but then they play a bunch of those hits.
Yeah.
You've had enough to. I feel the same way though. That there's this weird thing that like we're expected to pump out so much fucking material where great artists made some of the same art all the fucking time.
Well, this is part of the reason why I think this next special will be my 9th, right?
That's so many fucking specials.
And it's like, and some of them went for like an hour 20. It's almost 10 hours of stand up, right? When you add it all together, right?
too much.
And you're like, 10 hours of stand. It's like, and then people go, it's not his best special. And you're like, what the fuck do you want? I thought it was good. I put all my heart and soul into it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then it's like, I feel a bit like Billy Joel just told, after the River of Dreams fucking album, told us all to fuck off in about 1992.
Yeah, it's great.
Right?
Yeah.
And he was bringing album. And he's like, he goes like, people stopped listening to it.
Yeah.
People still went and saw him, but it's like, name me the last 5 Paul McCartney albums.
Fuck.
You know what I mean? The man's arguably the greatest songwriter, living songwriter on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Statistically, he is.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So you can't argue with
Hits-wise,
that.
no, yeah.
Statistically, he is, and no one gives a fuck when he brings out a new album. No one gives. He still sells the concerts.
Yeah.
But it's like there becomes like a shelf life. Like, even I think of like comedians, and I won't say who, but the comedians that I really like, and then I've gotten fatigued. I've just like haven't seen their last couple of specials.
Yeah, but that happens with everybody at some point.
Yeah.
And also, Paul is probably putting out albums the way that other people do, just the same way that fucking McDonald's has commercials. You're like, I don't need to see a fucking. I know McDonald's. Everyone knows McDonald's.
Yeah.
You have to kind of show face to keep it in the zeitgeist of
Well, I
people's
think
brain.
a guy like Paul McCartney it's just if he's not writing songs, what's he doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
I feel
probably-
like,
that's all
I
he
feel like
needs.
that's just what
Did
he
you
does.
watch the documentary?
I did. I loved it. Yeah.
It's funny. A lot of people say they loved it. I'm torn because parts of it were so overlap that like it was so much talking.
If I don't, I'm super into the Beatles.
Yeah, I like it.
So I loved it, right? But if you're a casual Beatle fan, I imagine it would be boring as fuck.
I mean, no, what I loved the most was watching Paul. What was the most impressive, and if you haven't seen it, too fucking bad, but watching Paul hum a tune and find the words. It's wild to watch that happen for him to go, and then he keeps doing it over and over until you hear him physically find get back. It's that to me, you watched somebody fucking paint and it's like watching when you finally see a painting come to life. You're like, holy fuck! Now I see what they're creating. That's hard to capture. I can't believe they got some of that
I
stuff.
enjoyed watching how clearly threatened they were by George Harrison.
Yeah, they kicked him the fuck out. It was so funny. Well, he left.
No, he left, but it's
They
also
bullied him out.
like he's just like this. I've got this other song. He's like doing something and all this type of stuff, right? And they're just like, yeah, all right, it's good. You got a song.
Yeah,
there.
go play it in the corner.
Yeah. But it's like they knew how good he'd gotten. And
Well, that's why they
were a
threatened
bit
him with
threatened.
Clapton all the time. I think it was so weird to have Clapton's name thrown around like, well, he's go get fucking Eric. He'll play it.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
such a rude way of saying like, well, we could just get a great guitarist to replace you.
Well, that's basically that's what George Harrison's wife did. Replaced him with Clapton.
Yeah, I know. That's so fucked up.
You know what I mean?
So fucked
like
up.
George Harrison must just walk around all the time, fucking Clapton.
Piece of shit. He did he became that looming thing they held over his head, which was so not fair. And when when Harrison continually threatened to quit, you could feel that they were calling his bluff. They're like, oh, come on, you're not going to fucking quit. It was such a bully mentality to watch those two guys push him right out. And
Well-
Ringo the whole time was like,
Also, you got to remember that, like, so I think John was 4 years older than.
correct, yeah. They met when they were like 14 and 16 or 17 or something
Yeah,
like that.
it was like 14 and 17. Yeah,
Yeah,
13 and 17
yeah,
or
that's
something like that. And when you're 17, hanging out with a 13-year-old, you're like, all right, dude.
It's a little kid.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
it's a
child.
little kid.
It's a little
and that
kid.
never goes away from you. My brother is I have two brothers. My eldest brother, who's 7 years older than me, I'm 44-year-old man, talks to me like I'm a child all the time. And it'll never leave him because I mean, in his eyes, I'm a child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't think it ever left them. And at that stage, they were in their 30s and he was like 27 or something. And they were just like, this fucking guy.
Oh, fucking rat. Yeah. Well, that's the same. My sister's a grown woman, but she's my little baby sister. It's impossible to look, especially when you grow up together. They literally grew up as kids together. It's hard to give any respect because you're the older brother the whole time.
Oh, when they went to Hamburg, you got to think about it. So they go to Hamburg and they're playing like 8-hour shifts, and they're in the red light district. All their girlfriends were like hookers and strippers and shit like that. Harrison was 17. Fucking hell, man! That would have been an eye-opening fucking trip.
I know. I would have gotten lost in the sauce. There's no way I would have made it out alive of that. I'd have just been hookered out for like fucking a month straight, staying in there at 17 and rich.
Yeah,
it's insane.
17 in a rock. Oh no, this is when they were poor in a rock band.
Oh, yeah,
This
that's
is when
right.
they played in Hamburg
yeah.
before they made it, type of thing. And it's like that. Like he would have been able to do it, but my mother never would have let me.
I traveled.
Like, I don't care who you are. I remember once when I was a kid, I was in my 20s or late teens or whatever like that. I was in a shopping mall in Australia, and I saw two of the members of Silverchair with their parents walking around the mall shopping for clothes. They were like 14 when they brought out Frog Stomp.
Frog Stomp was, I think, 16 is what I remember. They were
something. They were
15,
very
16,
they were very young, and
Such
it was
album.
when that album just came out, and they were with their mum shopping for clothes.
It was insane.
And you're like, but that's what you do. Your mum fucking goes
you're a
out and takes you out. You got to get new school pants. All right.
No, you got to get new band pants. We need pants for the next show you guys are playing. It is funny. You would imagine the parents had no idea how unbelievably globally popular that album became until they probably, when you started to do stuff and your family would be like, "Oh, are you playing a little show?" And you're like, "Yeah, it's 3,000 people. Yeah, I'm doing a little."
Oh, I had I don't want to get in trouble, but
Please get in trouble.
I had a mother-in-law of one of my brothers. Let's put it that way. Mother-in-law of one of my brothers. And I don't know if she doesn't dislike me as such, but she's known me since I was a little boy, and so she thinks I'm a moron, which anyone who's known me since they're a child is pretty safe on that.
Checks out, yeah.
Yeah. And so we were at Christmas, and she goes to me, she goes, so you're still doing comedy like that? And I was like this, yeah, I did Carnegie Hall this year, right?
Yeah.
I just went, yeah, I did Carnegie Hall this year. And she went, I don't think that happened.
Good for her.
And I'm just, well, it did. And my dad just looks at me like, what are you fighting about here,
Right.
man?
But then you look stupid no matter what you say. Yeah. She's like, it didn't. And you're like, yeah, yes, it did. So defensive. I'll prove it. What? Look at my tour schedule. Look. It's so funny because we still, because of our career and what we've chosen, even though you're so successful, we're still a joke to people who do jobs. They're they're like, well, they're fucking.
Oh, no. There's people in your family who think you fell ass backwards into a career.
Right. Like it's pure luck and you didn't do anything to get there.
You fucking old Godfrey over there did nothing. You just fucking, you know what I mean? Like it's both my brothers, I think, like I've got one brother who thinks he thinks he's funnier than me.
Of course.
Which in many ways, he was the funnier one when we were growing up. He was the funnier one.
Yeah. Look, is in wittier or quicker?
Louder, I think. I don't know.
Just louder.
Yeah, just louder.
Soaked up the room.
Yeah, I feel like he was he just kept on giving lines until one of them hit. I feel like I waited for my moment and then went in there and then ducked in and out. That's where you get the bigger laughs.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had more quality over quantity, but we can't prove this. There's no recordings. It was the 90s. No one was recording anything.
Right. But still, though, you would wait and attack when the moment was right.
But he's a big supporter of me doing stand-up. So he's my family. I'll give this up for my mum and dad that. For all that they really didn't want me to do it, but then when I made a go of it and all that type of stuff, my mother was a very strict woman, and I told some horrible jokes about my parents, where they came off quite like racist, or they said some nasty shit about my parents, talked about my mother's weight, I talked about, I did some really pretty hard stuff on them. They never complained once. I think that was the best gift they ever got me. They just was like, as long as he's not asking us for our money.
Right.
If this is the way he makes money, it's okay. They never complained. They never had to apologize.
They probably were smart enough to know that behind all that was that's part of the act. That's part of the show.
I couldn't perform with my mother in the room. She came to a few shows, and I was sweating. I was that fear sweat that smells worse.
What is it? Do you think it's like think she'll call out a piece of a joke that she knows is embellished or hyperbolized?
Yeah, there's a bit of that, but also
like I never did that. When
you keep looking at them. When there's like a family member, you tell a joke and then you look at them, or if there's someone like really. I remember once I was at the Improv and Paul McCartney was at the Improv, and I couldn't focus, and I never met him. He was just sitting in the corner of the Improv, right? And they said, Paul's here, right? And I was like, what the fuck? Like this, I was just going down to do 5 minutes, and I was doing like an anal sex joke, and I kept checking. Is
it okay with Paul?
And then they're like, Paul. And then you think, Paul laughed at the anal sex joke. Paul's probably had anal sex. And that's the same thing. I don't want my mum laughing at the fucking anal sex joke. That's going to make it awkward for me. If she does laugh, she doesn't laugh, she's disappointed in me. That's a no-win situation.
You don't want to do anal sex jokes in front of your mom. It's just that's an easy standard. In front of your dad, different story.
Yeah. No, my dad brings his mates.
Right.
And then like his mates get all fucking they all get like, so these are all old blokes who, when I was a kid, were, younger than I am now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. They were just the men that lived in the 35-year-old men that lived in the street. Right? And, I knew him as Mr. Peterson and Mr. Stevens and Mr. You know what I mean? And now they all fucking get in the fucking station wagon. They go, all right, Jim, we're all going to come and see your show. And they're all fucking 80-year-old cunts like that, right? And because they're going to see a dirty show, they just let it rip in the car about, oh, this fucking chick, she had some big fucking tits on her. Right? They're talking about some girl that worked in a bar. And I'm like, boys, calm down, behave, please.
It's dirty to you, yeah. You fucking filth buckets close. Slow it down.
They were all talking about, because they're all old and none of them can use the internet, right? These old blokes, they don't even know how to use porn.
Right. How do they get porn? They don't, what do they even know?
They all started talking about, they was like, oh, this fucking, that Katy Perry on that California song where she's got the cream coming out. Oh my God. And I was just like, that's what they'll fucking poor Katy Perry.
They're jerking off to stills, to image stills.
I'll tell you a funny story. So my mother passes away. Hilarious.
That's the funniest part.
Yeah, my mother passes away. And so my father, who has never had a phone, inherits my mother's phone. So
never had a cell phone.
Never had a cell phone his whole life. And so now it's like there's all these texts from my mother, like right before she died, very sweet, loving text. And then it's just like, the next text is like, call me, Gary, right? Like he puts his name at the end of text, right?
In case you don't know.
Yeah. And so anyway, so he also inherited my mother's apps. And so my mother had an Instagram account, and what she followed on Instagram was all of her grandchildren, me, and some arts and crafts sites, and that's all she followed. And I followed my mother back, and she'd put up pictures of her with the grandchildren or something, Anyway, so so it's like my mother was talking from the grave, because about 6 months ago, out of nowhere, my mother started following a lot of porn stars. I think my dad didn't know that people could see who you follow. So my mother, the last post of her is like a whole lot of people writing, Carolyn, you'll be missed. Oh, this is such a sad day. I can't believe she's gone. And then she's following like 60 or 70 porn stars.
Wait till he starts commenting on their pages. They're going to be like, Carolyn?
My
love the jugs in this pic.
So I was looking through comments. This is like a year before. I don't look at any of them anymore, but I was looking through comments, and there was there's people who are, I don't find this guy funny. This guy's a hack. The mundane, things. Who gives a fuck, right? But then there was some ones like, I hope this guy gets fucking shot at one of his gigs and he gets AIDS and his fucking kids die. Like a real
AIDS and gets shot? Yeah, and my kids?
Yeah, but nasty. There was two messages that were so fucking nasty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, well, I got to block these people.
Yeah.
Right? And I got to block them. And someone liked both of the messages. And I'm like, well, I'm going to fucking block this cunt as well who fucking liked them. Right? And I go to hit on the like, it's me fucking mum. Me mum liked it. Right?
Of course.
And she goes, I thought I was flagging it.
Doesn't a heart mean flag? Doesn't the like mean? If I heart it, I'm flagging it.
How powerful would have they been? Like, I hope this fucking guy dies. Oh, his mum's liked it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Half of the time, those dudes fucking love you. That's just the troll to get your attention anyway. Most of the time, the guy that's like, fuck you the most, he likes you. The guy that just is like, fuck this guy and unfollows you, that's who actually doesn't like you.
Yeah.
The guy that follows you all the time, there's a comedian, Gabby Lamb. Do you know who that is?
No,
She does a great post. She posts
almost
stuff.
lied then. I was about to go, oh, Gabby. I don't know.
She does great stuff on her dad's Facebook page. She'll screenshot it and then she'll put it up and talk about it.
Right.
And it's him commenting on like chicks' pages and liking a photo. He thinks no one can see it. She's been like, we all see it.
Yeah.
When you put that up and there's like a hot young chick and he'll be like, show a little more next time, ... She's like, we fucking see it. We all see it. He still thinks he's like, I'm messaging the girls directly. The scary thing about my parents' disconnect from social is that they neither are on it. My mom has one just to look at my page. But so often, I wish I could filter what my mom sees through mine. Because I'll put shit up that I'm like, I don't want her to fucking see this.
Yeah.
It's fine with some of it, but some of it I'm like, I don't want her to fucking see this post.
It's a little...
Like if I put a picture of you and me up and I'm like, new guy I've been fucking.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to see that.
Doesn't need to see it.
Yeah, she knows it. She doesn't need to see it.
No. And then I'll put something up on my page with a bit of cum on my face. Just did the podcast.
Had a good time. Eyes closed, shut together.
Oh, I had a fan put up. Okay, so I used to have this joke where I made a national holiday, April 18th, which was Anal Sex Day, which was to counteract Valentine's Day, which is awful. That was the core of the routine.
Right.
So a lot of people show up to my shows with April 18th T-shirts because you've got to be in the know. That's like something they do. I don't sell them, but they just make them themselves. Someone had Jim Jefferies, April 18th, written above their asshole. Their tattoo.
No.
Right? And I was like, that's you really... You posted that, have you?
Yeah.
Anal sex day. Like, you must be an orphan, surely.
Right. No family. Please. A full tattoo of anal 18th.
April 18th.
Anal 18th, for sure.
Well, it got a bit of momentum for a while, April 18th, where Pornhub were only putting up anal clips for that day on the front page.
Right.
And I was like, wow, I've made it.
Is this official? If I Google it right now, will it say?
I don't know if it'll be official, but you put April 18th anal.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah. If I do that for any date, it'll come up. If I do March 14th anal, it'll go, here's a bunch of anal stories from March 14th. April 18th. Let's just see first a couple of things that pop up.
I've never Googled it, but let's see.
This is a bunch of historic famous birthdays. Kourtney Kardashian and Conan O'Brien, two famous anal connoisseurs.
Yeah, true that.
Rose Huntington Whiteley. And no, there is no today in history. How about this? Let's do this. Let me give you, Jim Jefferies. There it is. So it did come up.
Yeah.
In this day in history, by the way, 1983, April 18th, 63 people, including 17 Americans, were killed at the U.S. Embassy in Beirut, Lebanon, by a suicide bomber.
What
a day.
I've never understood that, including 17 Americans.
Well, we have to stand out.
No, but when you have like a plane crashes and you go, and everyone died on the plane. There was 2 Americans aboard. Oh, that makes it a real tragedy. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know you had 2 of them. And every country does it. They do it in Australia for Australians.
Right.
I remember when
our own.
I remember when 9/11 happened. I've got a great memory.
Yeah.
And I just remember it.
Where were you? Which tower were you in?
I'll tell you where I was. I was packing my suitcase to move to England the next day on my big adventure. That was the last time I lived in Australia. The last day I lived in Australia was the day before that. Yeah.
Wow.
But in Australia, we call it 11/9 because the month goes after the day.
Right. You do it your way, we do it our way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so what was I think? What 9/11, but I had something. Oh, that's right. So at that stage, I was watching it from the news in Australia. At that stage, the Australian Prime Minister, I think, was meeting for some summit or meeting the Prime Minister the next day, the President the next day or something. So the Australian Prime Minister was in Washington, right? Mm-hmm. And then they hit the Pentagon.
Oh, yeah.
And the news was like this. And I remember thinking, oh, come on now, Australia. They were like this. We've just had reports. The Australian Prime Minister has been moved into a bunker. He is secure. Oh, the terrorists don't know that the Australian bloke's there. It's not like, and plus, we will do it on this day because that is when the Australian Prime Minister is in town.
Death to Australia!
And so it's funny how we all think we're the center of the fucking world.
Of course.
And the Australians were like, oh, thank God he's secure. Oh.
Who is that, by the way? Who is the Australian Prime Minister?
At that stage, it was a guy called John Howard. Was the Prime Minister.
Boring fucking name.
Yeah, John Howard. Yeah, he was Prime Minister for maybe like 10, 12 years or something.
You should run for Prime Minister under
I don't
under
know.
Godfried
Nuggets?
Yeah.
I was doing a rate because I'm about to tour Australia again in June, July.
I saw you post that because you had to repost from the COVID shit,
the
right?
COVID thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to New Zealand again, and so I did some press. I did a New Zealand radio show. And one of the radio DJs goes to me this like, so John, have you been keeping up with Kiwi politics?
Oh, God.
Like this, right?
What?
And I'm like, Kiwi, they call themselves Kiwis.
No, I
right?
know, but why?
Kiwi politics. And I went, mate, I haven't kept up with Australian politics. What are you talking about? Have I kept up with the politics of a country of 3 million people?
Oh,
no.
That's less than half of LA. It's Santa Monica.
As much as I've kept up with Fiji politics.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't fucking know.
Which you do know a lot about, ironically enough.
The water, the dancing, the hoolery type thing. They've got it all going on in Fiji. So Jack, my assistant there, is sitting in the corner staring.
Yeah,
at
Jack
us.
is here with us, although we've pushed him away in the corner and he's just nodding away with his dick out.
So Jack comes over to me like this. He goes, you got some New Zealand radio tonight, right? And I was like, all right, I'll do New Zealand radio.
Sure.
He goes, I'll come over and set it up for you. He goes, they want to do it via Zoom. It's just radio, but they get a better signal on Zoom, whatever. So no problem. So I got the newborn baby. And the baby just vomited on my fucking chest. Now, I wear a hat on podcast because I've got shit hair and I don't feel like doing it. I can do it to look nice, but otherwise you can see my scalp and all that type of stuff, and I just fucking wear a hat, you know what I mean? So my hair wasn't done. I had fucking vomit on my fucking shirt and everything to do this radio. And then I get in the Zoom, I put the headphones on, they go, okay, welcome to the project. You'll be on air in 5. I was on fucking TV.
Oh, fuck.
I was doing a live feed to one of their fucking...
Is that his fault?
It's his fault, yeah.
You little piece of shit. Yeah, you didn't tell him, huh?
And so I'm just sitting there with vomit and fucking me hair all like this. I'm like... And also with radio, you're doing a 5-minute radio in New Zealand, you don't prepare anything. You hope that it's just a chat like this. And you're
Easy.
With TV, you got to have something ready to go, some idea of what you might... Some story you might tell. I was just like this. Oh, come to the show. Oh... Yeah.
Like, thanks, Jim. Bye. You're like, bye, thanks.
And they're like this, you're with Max, Dicko, and Mark.
Oh, hey, guys.
And I'm like some New Zealand comics I've never heard of. Hey, boys.
And they're your biggest fan. They love you.
Oh, no, New Zealand, I'm not. I do all right in Australia. I sell very well in Australia.
You don't do well in New Zealand?
I do okay in New Zealand. I do okay. I still do fine, but I don't do as well as I do in Australia.
That's wild. You'd think there'd be more support.
No, I've slagged off New Zealand a lot throughout my career.
What?
If anything, I really need to apologise. I've said a lot of nasty things about the New Zealand people.
Let's add something else to the fire. You got another one?
They're okay. They're just, I went and did a tour there, and they've got some nice places, and they've got some other places that aren't as fun. So I'm trying to be diplomatic.
That's a sweet way of saying fuck that place.
I still haven't sold out the tickets.
No. Well, go see them if you're down there. By the way, I want to tell you, we skipped fast, but I got to tell you, this anal April 18th is huge. 1775, April 18th, as Paul Revere began this famous ride from Charlestown to Mass. Seriously.
With a strap on his saddle, bouncing up and down as he went.
Yeah, we have to add an anal part to all this.
I'm coming!
Who? The British, I mean. 1923, the first game was played at Yankee Stadium. How crazy? That's the first game of Yankee Stadium, an anal 18th.
In the new Yankee Stadium or the old Yankee Stadium?
The original.
Oh, the original. Okay.
And they give out that night, it was anal bead night.
That's how they invented the bobblehead.
That's right. Because you go like this when they pull them out. In 1938, Superman, Man of Steel, made his debut as the first issue of Action Comics on April 18th. Dude, this date is actually extremely important in the history.
I just threw that day out there just as a random day when I was on stage and went, fine, that's as good as any fucking day. I didn't know it was so jam-packed with history.
Packed. I mean, seriously.
It's like the anal sex just fades into the background.
And look at this. 10 years ago on April 18th, anal 18th, President Barack Obama, you know him? You remember him?
Yeah, I remember him.
He offered a spirit of cooperation to America's hemispheric neighbors at the summit Port of Spain in Trinidad. Look at this, dude.
What do you reckon he does now? Does he still do?
I think he's got a Netflix deal for $400 million, and
Is he going to make some Netflix shows?
I think they have shows. I think him and Michelle Obama got like a Netflix overall deal to do docuseries, narrative, television. Who fucking gives a shit? They got all the money in the world. I think he's just hanging out. I think being a president must be the most miserable bullshit on earth, and finally you get to be a human again.
Yeah, why,
to a degree.
Why would you want to do it? I don't understand. That's why I feel like anyone who becomes president, anyone, even. They're all there for the wrong reasons. Because who the fuck would want to? You have to be a narcissist on some level,
like us,
to think I want to be in charge of everything.
Sure, yeah,
and then fight through it, fight tooth and nail to fucking become the person who's in charge of fucking everything, to get paid fuck all and get criticized non-stop. And you might get assassinated. Why the fuck would you want to do that?
Maybe the assassination is kind of part of the gig. I would shoot at him more. We got to start shooting at him more is what Jim is saying.
I don't want to get in trouble for that. That you're getting arrested for that.
No, I think, you know what's so funny? I do think that I would assume that a good portion of people that get into high-end politics like that to the top, not local politics, but I assume most of them actually give a fuck. I do believe it in my heart, but at some point, you can't give a fuck anymore. It gets diluted. There's too much bureaucracy.
How would you go for an election when they're going to dig up every bit of dirt of every stupid thing you've ever said in your entire life? They're going to question your relatives, the thing, and go, that's something I'd still like to go through.
Yeah, a nightmare.
Fuck.
But wouldn't you feel more comforted if more of these people, we could dig up more dirt from them? To me, the more dirt we have, the more dirt that comes out of people, I go, all right, they're human. That makes me feel a little bit more comforted.
Look, when
they have zero dirt, I get really weird.
In 20 years, we're going to have a female president. That we've seen.
Not on my watch, Jim.
You'll be dead by then.
Yeah.
That we've seen
Ditto.
loads of their nudes. They'll just be like, oh, because that's what everyone's done. They've sent them to somebody.
Yeah,
right?
someone's got them.
And there won't be a girl 20 years from now who hasn't sent a nude. They've all sent a nude. And same with men and whatever. They've done some stupid.
Every president will have had a dick pic for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, dick pic press.
Yeah, and we'll just say it. We'll just go, all right, day one of the election. You know what? We don't get the dick pic about until the 2-month mark.
Well, if it's a really nice dick, then you really want to vote for the guy. What if they just put a picture of their dicks to vote in the booth?
Which president do you reckon had the nicest dick?
In the history of our country or recently? I would say, I bet you Clinton's got a hog. I bet you he's got a can. He's got a big old fucking Coke can cock. Yeah. I bet you George Bush Senior had a long, skinny dick.
Yeah, I reckon George Bush Senior had a big flaccid dick, but maybe not a big hard dick. But he was one of those guys that walked around and
long, skinny
dangled
dick.
around.
Yeah. What president had the smallest dick?
Oh,
don't go easy. Don't go the easy route.
No, I think Nixon looks like a small dick type of guy. He does.
He does because he's very creepy. He looks like a penis a little bit, a little scrouchy, cold penis.
He would. I reckon Gerald Ford might have had a hog on him.
You think Ford had a big dick?
Yeah.
What about
here's something controversial. I reckon Kennedy had an average dick.
Yeah, he looks like a normal cock kind of guy. No,
Irish,
Irish, Massachusetts, rich, Connecticut or whatever. All that over there is small dick stuff. Half of these people listening are like, "Fuck you!" That's their whole heritage.
You know what you are.
Yeah, you know.
I did an outdoor gig the other day, like yesterday. And it was freezing fucking cold. And I went to the urinal. My dick was a fucking it had curled up like a turtle head. I'm circumcised and it was underneath the foreskin that was left. It was just it was so cold.
Well, it'll have to pull it over itself to get warm.
Yeah.
Instinct.
No. In the cold, it doesn't. My dick gets smaller before I go on stage. There's something about fear dick.
Me too.
Fear dick.
My dick goes small right before I step on stage.
Yeah.
But then, as the act starts, my dick starts to drop back into its original spot.
Correct. By the time I get off stage, my dick's back to normal. But before I go on stage, my dick's small.
Me too.
I have fear dick.
We have fear dick, you and I.
Yeah.
A couple of fear dicks over here.
And it's that's why I don't feel like I'm nervous. I don't feel like I'm worried, but my dick does the same thing every time. There must be something in my subconscious.
There's a correlation between anxiety and excitement because I'm not nervous. My dick gets small because I'm so excited to get out.
Yeah.
And then I think it doesn't know, the dick doesn't know if that's fight or if that's we're going to war. Yeah, and I think your dick's got to be close to your body if you're fighting at war.
That's what I think it is. Your dick's popped in, so in case someone goes to punch you there, he's saved himself.
he's ducking a punch. He's ducking and diving.
I don't reckon anyone before they go into a boxing mate is flopping around, are
no
they?
Chance.
Or UFC, their dick's shrinking up.
Unless you're a thick enough dick kind of guy where it's never going to. I imagine Mike Tyson's dick was always as big as it was going to be.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever got a fear dick.
I don't know that high-pitched voice. I imagine he had little balls. I know that's not
Little balls.
exactly, not an exact thing, but I feel like he's a small testicled fella.
You heard it here first, Mike Tyson. You're getting called out by Jim Jefferies for having
man.
small balls.
I'll fucking fight you, man. Come on.
I would pay all the money in the world to see that.
I'm a terrible athlete, as I've said, but what I do is I am better than some people at certain stages in their life. Like, so right after the car accident, I was officially a better golfer than Tiger Woods. There was a window where I was a better golfer than Tiger Woods.
Short amount of time.
Towards the end of Muhammad Ali's life, I was a better boxer. I just was.
Yeah.
There was no argument that right towards the end, I was a better boxer than Muhammad Ali.
When he was on the bed in a ventilator,
When he was
I would've
there
fucked him up.
burning his arm at the fucking Olympics, holding the torch, I could have beat the shit out of that guy.
That's so incredible. We are better than some people at one point in the lifespan.
The last couple of weeks of Maradona's life, I probably was. We still would have been
No, I
a
was
better
just going to
soccer
say,
player.
there's no way. Are you a big football fan, by the way?
I like football. I do, yeah. I like the Premier League, yeah.
Who's your team?
They're not in there right now, but Fulham, they'll be back up.
Well, I think we talked about this at one.
They
You're a big
go
Fulham
up, go
fan.
down, they go up. Look, there's something you should know about me. I'm not anymore, but I'm cheap. A little cheap I am. A little tiny bit cheap.
Mm-hmm.
When I was poor and I moved to England, I was living near the Chelsea area, and Fulham is just the same suburb as Chelsea. They're right next door to each other. And Fulham were about £20 to go see a game, where Chelsea was like £90 to see a game.
Fulham it is.
So Fulham it is. I had no money. When I first came to America, I had no money. That's why I'm a Clippers fan.
That's so funny. I did the same thing. I used to go to those $20 games, $25 games. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's so funny.
If you give me the bargain basement ticket, you've got me for life.
That's good, though. At least you're still loyal. You didn't switch just because you got money.
No. Stayed with the shitty team.
Don't
mate.
switch when you get rich.
Yeah.
Go see Jim on tour. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. I'm happy you came. I'm not happy you came, by the way.
He was
yeah,
nothing.
taking up space and time over there. With
Thanks
your
for
fucking,
having me.
your
Andrew.
USC hat.
I enjoyed this.
Good. I appreciate you coming a lot. Go see Jim on tour. Are you doing anything in the States, or are you only doing
I'm on
Australia?
the States right now. When does this podcast come out?
We're in the new year. Happy New Year.
Happy New
We're
Year.
January 7th today, I think it is.
I'm about to be in Columbus, Ohio, Kansas City. I'm about to be in Des Moines, Iowa. Go to jimjefferies.com.
Go to jimjefferies.com to go see him, Des Moines, Iowa, Kansas City, and all those dates. Myself as well. I'm on tour, andrewsantino.com. Jim, we end the show the same way every time. Look inside that camera, you're single, and say one word or one phrase to end the episode when you're ready.
One word or one phrase?
You can pick. I used to do one word, but people got so nervous on a word.
Cunt.
In here, we pour whisk, 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 whisk.
You were that creature in the ginger beard.
Sturdy and ginger.
Like vampires, the ginger gene is a curse.
Gingers are beautiful.
You owe me $5 for the whiskey and $75 for the horse.
Gingers? Oh, hell no.
This whiskey is excellent.
Ginger. I like gingers.